Good afternoon and welcome on Joy News today. Coming up, police shoot to death 5 people at Gobwafete in the central region after they allegedly attempted to assassinate the chief there. We'll bring you details of that story. Now, 2 persons allegedly sustained gunshot wounds in an alleged forceful takeover of the Assassinate Palace and the subsequent installment of a parallel chief this morning. We'll bring you more details of that as the joint police and military team cordons off the forefront of the palace to prevent angry residents from reprisals. And showdown in Parliament as minority vows to thoroughly subject controversial e-levy bill to thorough debate later today. We have Haruna Idrisu speaking to the issues. He is confident this bill will be approved just as the appropriation bill was passed last Friday.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
My name is Benjamin Akakpo. The details now. Personnel of the Ghana Police Service have shot dead 5 people at Gobwafete in the central region who were suspected of attempting to assassinate the chief there. 3 others are said to be on the run. Information available to Joy News indicates the suspects were contracted by some unidentified persons to assassinate the chief last night. But the chief, Nana Abo Atta, tells Joy News an informant tipped off the police who laid ambush and shot the suspects.
Why if Nana Boy Yamwa? Na bedo bibia nana boy ya mo bia nyame mfa ne krinhye bepim ina muso nyame wae madum ma betina eguakese no do na moluko no onye adi papa na moko do no oye de wa bopa de wo bokunye ibade na ya ye sebi ye bon na nyame no osini nti se nyame we esini hu a ne bade bi na ye nuanu wo hwehwe de wa bopa de wo na omde obi sunya information oma apolicefu wasote na me da apolicefu so me da waso papa ina dwumeja wo di ma feteman na nyamenka IGP na ne police fu a sebi warn your man de ma Ghana de da mun kofu ampanzo woni wo be hia tetete ima etuli kasa na police fu ekum another 4 on it share police from Ejuma warrior di bua Ghana warrior di bua feteman na ye opposition funa won sebi adun papa nyi wo tim na de bia wa ye de won ma fete asumdwemban eyi na obi abamu de san na nye nananum no ye de bia no wo twantru de nananum no san na nye nananum no ye san won na anytime bia no won pede asumdwe be ba fete. Okay, me da police force pa nyame shan won kodu won di da mujuman.
Nana Abo Atta is chief of Gobwafete in the central region. Joining us on the phone with more is our Adum FM correspondent Kofi Ajay with more. He'll be bringing us more details on that. We'll come back to that development shortly. But 2 persons have allegedly sustained gunshot wounds at Assassinate in the eastern region following the installation of Osaberima Etiabisa Kantinka Pubi Asumening, a parallel chief of the town. The installment was characterized by sporadic gunshots amidst resistance from some residents who are believed to be followers of Osaberima Edu Dakon III, another rival chief. While some residents pelted stones at thugs who facilitated security for the ceremony, others fled the tense scene. The gun-wielding thugs before the ceremony forcibly broke into the main palace while threatening life and property. The presence of a police team even brought the volatile situation under control, though it brought the situation under control, could not stop the installment process. Osaverima Kantinka Pobia Sumening, in a speech after his installment, said his legitimacy had been endorsed by a Koforidua High Court. Later, we shall be joined by our reporter on this beat, Edwin Kofi Siao, who has been monitoring the situation. We'll go on that one later. Let's talk Parliament now. And a showdown is expected later today in Parliament as MPs ready themselves to debate and approve the controversial e-levy bill. Already, the minority has served notice of what to come amid a strong indication to thoroughly subject the bill to scrutiny. The Finance Committee of Parliament, which was scheduled to deliberate on the levy, was forced to suspend its consideration last Friday to allow for broader consultations. The fate of the bill, which has sharply divided the House, will be determined today. We'll be hearing later from Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. But let's get back to that story about the shooting incident in Gobwafete, where police personnel have been giving us a brief. Joining us on the phone now is our Adum FM correspondent, Kofi Ejay, with more. Kofi, so tell us, what is the latest that you can report on this development? When did this happen? And do we know the suspects who have been killed by the police?
Police are able to identify one of the suspects called Moses. His guy name is called Soft Killer from Assassinate. There were 7 in numbers who came to Gobwafete yesterday night. The incident happened around 8, 9, thereabout, in between 8 and 9 p.m. And according to information, they were contacted by some people to come and assassinate the chief of Gobwafete, Nana Boyata, and Abushapeni, Nana Akwabeka. And this is not the first time. About 7 years ago, a man of Gobwafete who was residing at Feta Akaba was shot by this assassinate, the same people. So, as I'm speaking to you now, police from Central East Regional Police Command are hearing their numbers, BNI officers, and having meeting with the Nananum and the traditional authorities to find ways to protect the chief and the others.
So I take it has been established the motive for this attempted assassination?
Yeah, according to police, they had intelligence about 2 weeks ago. Some people giving the information that there are people at Tema planning to come and kill the chief because they have some chieftaincy disputes on the stool. So they had that intelligence. So they followed the intelligence, and the people came here yesterday because the chief resided at Accra. So he came here yesterday. So they decided to come and assassinate him. And unfortunately, police were here in their numbers and fired them from the spot, and 2 people ran away.
What has been the reaction of people in the community and, those who are in the community where the chief actually is ruler, Gobwafete?
They are living in fear and they are even shocked because looking at what happened, they are living in fear. And as I said earlier, the Oman Grado was shot dead 7 years ago, and the late Nana Boyamwa was also came here to the unfortunately, they couldn't survive, but he was injured. So this gunshot and gun battle at Gobwafete and it's normal here.
Well, thank you so much for bringing us the details there from that incident in Gobwafete, where indeed the police intercepted or at least foiled that attack on the chief of Gobwafete. Let's also go live now, back to that other issue in Asamankese. We interact with our man on the ground, Edwin Kofi Siao, who has been monitoring the situation. Edwin, tell me, what more can you report on this incident? We know the police has had to step in, but what more can you report on this incident?
Okay, so as I speak with you, the police and the military team are in Asamankese. They've cordoned off the palace, and no one is entering the place. Wherever you would have to go through to enter the palace has been blocked by the police and the military team. So as I speak with you, calm has returned to the place, even though there is, tension in the area. The disturbances has gone down as it was in the morning. What they are telling us is that they are not going to allow what happened today to, continue. So the residents have been protesting since morning when the process of installing the strawberry map for the Asmanin was taking place. So that is what has been happening since morning.
So the police, we hear, apprehended some of the thugs. How many in question, and what has happened to them?
Okay, in the palace where we were, the police had arrested 3 of the people they believed to be part of the tax that facilitated the process of installing the new chief. But as I speak with you, they've sent them away. As to where they are, we are yet to know from the police. But the installation process, as I said, has been very successful, and they now have a rival chief or a parallel chief in the person of Osaberima Pobi Asmanin in Asamankesi.
Do we still have a security detail in the town, and add up what the mood of the people basically is in the town? Okay, so there is heavy security in Asamankesi. As I said before, there is the military and the police presence. The regional police commander, DCOP, Akrofi, is also around, and his deputy is also here to ensure that there is peace in this area. And the reaction of the people?
The reaction of the people has been, while some are saying that they do not support, others also say that they support what happened this morning.
Right. Thank you for the details that you've brought us all the way from Asamankesi, from that development. Interesting developments, Gobwafete and Asamankesi. On to our next story. Let's get to Parliament. And a showdown is expected later today as MPs ready themselves to debate and approve the controversial e-levy bill. Already, the minority has served notice of what is to come amid a strong indication to thoroughly subject the bill to scrutiny. The Finance Committee of Parliament, which was scheduled to deliberate on the levy, was forced to suspend its consideration last Friday to allow for broader consultations. The fate of the bill, which has sharply divided the House, will be determined today. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, however, insists the NDC caucus remains committed to rejecting it.
E-levy Monday fully. And e-levy means a lot to us and to the Ghanaian people. If you want e-levy, Monday, Tuesday, we are prepared for you. Full glare of the public, we debate it, we vote on it, and take a decision as appropriate. We debate the policy principles of it. We will tell Ghanaians where we stand, that we do not think that you are sensitive.
We apologize for the poor sound at the end, but that was Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. Meanwhile, Majority Leader Oseiche Mensah Bonsu is confident the House will approve the levy, which he says is an integral part of the 2022 budget.
The e-levy is going to be considered by Parliament. I want to believe that Parliament, after the unanimous passage of the appropriation bill, shall rise to the occasion to pass the major revenue source to feed the work program of the government for 2022. I'm hugely aware that every member of Parliament needs roads. Every member of Parliament needs health facilities. The e-levy will be a major booster for these endeavors. And that is why I believe that members of Parliament would not vote against the e-levy in order not to deny their constituents of the benefits of basic infrastructure facilities.
Well, we go over the phone lines now and interact with our parliamentary correspondent, Pakwesi Parker Wilson, for more. Parker, so we spoke earlier this morning and there were quite some developments there. Has sitting commenced as of now, as of this hour?
In the meeting, considering the e-levy, in fact, I am told that what they are looking at is...
Parker, so
Yeah,
I missed the start of your discourse. So could you just start again with what exactly you're saying so we can get it?
Right.
Has the sitting commenced?
I'm making the point to you that Parliament is yet to commence sitting.
Right.
And the Finance Committee is now considering or deliberating on the e-levy as I speak to you.
Okay.
So members of the minority and the majority are all in this meeting. Now, I'm told that what they are looking at is the issue about whether it should be passed under a certificate of urgency or not. So that has been a major disagreement currently in the Finance Committee. But the majority is clear that today they will put before the plenary. It is the hope of the majority, as you say, that the committee will agree, together with their report, to submit the entire e-levy to the plenary for them to adopt and subsequently approve. And I'm sure you heard the majority leader himself yesterday when he made the point that every member of parliament needs roads, they need hospitals, they need educational facilities.
Right.
And so it is important that they approve the e-levy. But there's an interesting twist to it. I have spoken to the Deputy Minority Whip, Ahmed Ibrahim, who has indicated to me that in Parliament there are procedures you have to go through. And so today, for example, is the 10th week if you look at the Parliament calendar. So business for the 9th week has ended. If you want to put before the House the e-levy, then the Business Committee must first meet to consider the issues that will be tabled before the House so that they can look at it. If you don't program the e-levy as part of activities for today, then they cannot take it. And for him, being a member of the Business Committee, they are yet to sit and they've not discussed anything about e-levy. So he's not too sure in his mind that the House would even accept and adopt the e-levy when the Finance Committee put the report before the plenary. Again, there's an issue about, but he asked the MPP to suspend the e-levy, just as they suspended their proposed amendment. He tells me that the MPP respected their delegate, looking at the fact that when they considered the motion for the amendment, there could be problems. They decided to refer it to the National Council. And so that is what they have to do. They need to allow for broader consultation so that when Parliament returns from recess, then they can now look at the issue about the e-levy after a broader consultation. I have with me Al-Hassan Suhini. He's there, of course, member of Parliament, getting himself ready to go into the chamber. But Honorable, Ghanaians want to know briefly, is the position of the minority still that they're kicking against the e-levy?
Well, absolutely. That is our position. If you recall, last Friday when the House adjourned, the minority leader immediately issued a press statement where he sought to bring the general public to, if you like, follow the position that the minority has adopted since this budget statement was presented. And he made it clear, in that statement that we remain opposed to the e-levy in its current form. And our position is simple. COVID did not just affect government's economy, it also affected the ordinary man's economy. Businesses have been hit so hard, incomes of families have been hit so hard, and government only last year introduced 4, taxes aimed at dealing with the effect of COVID on the government's economy, or if you like, the national economy. And we think that is enough burden shared by the people already. And there is no need to further burden them at this time when they are also dealing with their own economic, crisis as a result of COVID. So our position is non-negotiable. And as stated, in the release that was issued on Friday, we will resort to any means within the 1992 Constitution, within the standing orders of the House and the practices of the House, to oppose it with the might that we have as a minority group of 137.
So, Benjamin, that's the Tamale North MP, Al-Hassan Suhini, said that the minority will resort to every legitimate means within the corridors of the 1992 Constitution to oppose the e-levy. So, they've not softened their stance. Going into the chamber today, they are still going to kick against the e-levy. Their position is that no e-levy, zero e-levy. And you know that the telcos reduced their charges to about 0.25%. In spite of that, the minority says that we don't want the e-levy, and so government should suspend the e-levy.
Well, details there from Parliament. Pakwesi Parker-Wilson is our parliamentary correspondent. Thank you, Pakwesi. Meanwhile, a member of Parliament for Boku Central has defended Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu's statement that the NDC MPs had agreed to have the controversial e-levy reduced to 1%. Mahama Yariga says Haruna Idrisu only reiterated a conversation the minority had earlier had with government after insisting that it would still go ahead with the implementation of the e-levy. He's been speaking on the AM show on Joy News.
It's because they don't know what we agreed on. They just don't know. They just don't know. I mean, let me defend him. Recently, there was this discussion about 1%, 1%. It wasn't Haruna's decision. It was not. It was not his decision. He made a mistake of saying it, but it was not Haruna's decision.
It was a decision by the caucus?
Let me be honest with you, and I speak in defense of Haruna, that they wanted to engage with us.
Okay.
We sent them to go and engage. At the point of engagement, you know, the thinking was that you can't go engaging and say you will never, you know, concede to anything. Are you getting the situation?
Yeah.
But
Following you.
If the engagement is successful, fine, we will all review it. But if the engagement is not successful, then nothing has been agreed. So they went and engaged. And the NPP, they insisted that they must have the tax. And then, you know, the discussion came around that, okay, if you must have the tax, we are also totally against the tax, but if you must have the tax, civil society people saying that you should start from a very low threshold. That's what signals we are picking from civil society groups, economists and everything. They are saying that you must start from a low threshold if you must have the tax. And they said, no, we will not start from a low threshold. We will start from 1.75%. If you disagree with us, the lowest we will go to is 1.5%. Then we said, okay, then there's no agreement on anything. Okay. And we walked away.
Maybe there's no agreement. Why did he say 1%?
That's what I'm saying. So he made a mistake. 1%. He made a mistake of, you know, bringing out discussions that took place in a mediation exercise.
On that same subject, the Boku Central MP also said minority MPs wondered whether or not the decision to boycott the sitting on the day the majority MPs approved the budget was the right thing to do. Minority MPs boycotted a sitting after a walkout by the MPP MPs resulted in the rejection of the budget. But a few days later, a boycott of the NDC MPs allowed the majority side to approve the budget, a decision many Ghanaians have questioned. Mahama Yariga, who's been speaking on the AM show, says their decision was justified by the First Deputy Speaker's decision not to allow a vote on the issue.
In all sincerity, we were wondering whether that was the best approach.
Okay.
We ourselves were wondering whether that was the best approach. But interestingly, the following day, our fears were confirmed. Why do I say so? We debated among ourselves as to whether we should go into the chamber or not. If we went into the chamber, will the First Deputy Speaker allow a fair process in terms of the application of the rules? Okay. They had educated the public that with 137, you couldn't take a decision. So we took a position that if we were not in the chamber, they will also be 137.
But if you were in the chamber, there could be 137, 137, and the motion would still have been lost.
We took a position that if we were not in the chamber, there will be 137. And so the public will then see that they also didn't have a number to take a decision. So that was our tactical position. Now, there were those who said, well, let's go into the chamber, and there'll be 137, and then we'll be 137. So the motion will be lost. Are you getting the situation?
Right.
But then there were those who said, will the Speaker allow us to go through the process fairly if we're in the chamber? So let's not take the risk. Because if we enter the chamber, the question of quorum would be defeated, because once we're in the chamber, then the quorum will be, 274.
Right.
Still with the political scene, and some members of the New Patriotic Party believe referring the party's constitutional amendment will help unite the party. They say various proponents of the motions will get the chance to further defend their stance. Such opportunity, they believe, will help prevent proponents from being disgruntled. Nana Yaljima was at the National Delegates Conference of the party and filed this report.
Out of the 91 motions received by the NPP Constitution Review Committee, over 40 of them were rejected by the committee. But the party's conference moved a motion for the proposals to go back to the consideration stage. Same Awuku is party organizer.
We wanted the national conference, the National Delegate Conference, to give us the permission to go back to NEC so we can discuss the various proposals with NEC and then move to National Council for National Council to also approve. Then later we can come for ratification. So it's not that it didn't happen. It did, but we moved the motion.
Member of the committee, Dindyong Pemka, explains the committee will fine-tune the proposals received for the party's decision-making body to consider.
So all the 93 motions you saw actually in the motion paper did not mean that we recommended all of them. But remember, the conference has the highest authority in matters like this. So we brought all of them. We were supposed to read them to conference and the decision was going to be taken. But because of the overwhelming numbers, as I did indicate, conference has mandated us to go back and fine-tune it and present to National Executive Committee and National Council for final and conclusive determination and report back to conference.
So now are you going back to all the 91 or the 54 that went through?
Well, when we get back, our mandate as of now will be actuated by what National Executive Committee and National Council will tell us. Then we will fine-tune it and present it to them. And remember that National Executive Committee and subsequently National Council are very high decision-making bodies that have been mandated by conference. And when we do the presentation, whatever is accepted, we'll bring it back to conference for ratification.
Some delegates present at the conference believe the decision taken is necessary to meeting the party's aspiration in cohesion.
The proposal that has been postponed is a good thing that will happen to our party. It will give way for broader consultation, broader engagement. The issues will be ironed out. Those who do not understand some of the nitty-gritty of the proposals, such people will have to be invited to defend why they think such proposals are necessary for the party.
You know, we will have to stand united to be able to break the eight. This calls for unity. Everybody must get involved so that we can actually break the eight.
For Joy News, Nana Yaljima, Kumasi.
Let's talk now about the construction of the Pralugu multi-purpose dam, which is about to commence. This comes after the completion of feasibility studies as well as an environmental and social impact assessment. Despite the projected positive impacts, there are, however, concerns regarding the transparency of the cost involved. Though estimated to cost nearly $1 billion, the public is yet to know what accounts for the cost, what projects are being covered, how the construction is sequenced, and the timelines. There is also an issue with the resettlement plan for communities which will be affected as a result of the construction, as well as the current 15-kilometer northeast siting of the project, which is much farther away in the northeast region. There are fears that going ahead with the new design could trigger conflict between the two beneficiary regions, that is the Upper East and the Northeast regions, particularly over the naming. Former CEO of SADA, Dr. Charles Abugri, is among several stakeholders who will be tabling the issues at a forum for deliberation for possible solutions.
It is important that there is total transparency about the dam. Does the costs include the acquisition of the lands where the irrigation facilities will be put? Or will it not include the acquisition of the land? This is very important. We don't know. Does the costs include other facilities for both the areas, the flooded areas, and also the irrigable land areas? We don't know. And so just some clarity will help a lot in the conversation. That's the first thing. The second thing is that names they might seem very simple, but it's important for long-term stability. So we always knew that there was an option to site the dam in a number of places. Before I left, we were looking at how to reduce the flooding for environmental reasons, but also for social reasons. And so options were being looked at. So in the end, the siting of the dam is much further away than people anticipate. So it is in the northeast region. It's nowhere near Pralugu. Therefore, it may be necessary, at least for the people in Pralugu and everybody, or even where the dam is being sited, the dam wall is being sited, that they are aware and that they are happy.
Well, it's Christmas and long queues at lorry stations often is a common scenario a few days to Christmas. Top of the list of these travelers and drivers is safety, road crashes and that of COVID-19. According to the Motor Transport and Traffic Directorate of the Ghana Police Service, more than 2,000 lives have been lost from January to November. How do we reduce these crashes and get these families to their destinations safely? Michael Papani-Ashali has been interacting with some bus conductors and passengers and has come through with this report.
The Utah season is here again, and hundreds of buses readying themselves to transport thousands of people who are interested in moving away from the capital to their various places where they want to spend their festive season with family and friends. Top of the list of the concerns for many of the people embarking on this journey is safety. One has to do with on the road, and the other is amongst us everywhere we go, COVID-19.
I would say it's about COVID, yeah. Normally I have no problem traveling from wherever I am to anywhere, but then the outbreak, yes, safety has become very important, so I think that is the only problem I have right now. I think you should just drive carefully, yeah, and then make sure the protocols are observed, yeah.
On road crashes, more than 2,000 people have lost their lives this year alone. What can we do? Let's talk to the drivers and find out what they want us to do together to make sure this is curtailed.
Busy and pay no never accident. So at tea and they say, yeah, draft and I'm consul and people say, yeah, a year. And we can't tell to know and make a tuno. I do a say to a boss. We're overtaking. Baby, who are him now Usaka.
So what he's been saying is that, well, he knows there are challenges on the road, especially with the width of the road, but he thinks that with patience from drivers especially, they can transport passengers safely to their destinations. Again, he mentions the aspect of how long it takes them to get to their journey, especially because of the road strips that you find, a lot of road ramps, which is preventing them from getting to their destination. Sometimes the passengers get agitated that they're expecting to get to a destination in a particular time frame, but that is not the case at the end of the day.
Some drivers and passengers sharing their thoughts there. Let's all stay safe. Let's break now for business when we return.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Government has submitted all documentations that qualifies Ghana to receive goods and services from member countries of the African Union under the Continental Free Trade Agreement. This puts the nation ahead of its peers as one of the countries, together with South Africa, to receive goods under the new trade deal. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry Herbert Kwapa told Joy Business that only 2 Ghanaian companies are trading at the moment because most of the receiving countries are not ready.
Ensuring that we help the private sector directly with the capacity to do so. We're identifying financing, cost of power, logistics, infrastructure. We're interviewing the companies directly. So far, the enterprise audit has interviewed 180 companies, and we're going to be expanding it. We targeted 200. Once that 200 is done, we go to another 200. We are basically trying to handhold the industry to the doorstep of AFCFT. And then when you have a number of them starting, gradually you know that the momentum will be picked by other companies as well to take advantage of the platform.
But Ghana also, are we also ready to receive from other countries, like you're saying, some of the receiving countries?
Oh, absolutely.
We're ready to receive
absolutely.
From South Africa?
Absolutely, we are ready. The competent authority is GRA, so customs. So once the rules of origin are certified by customs, the goods can come in under AFCFTA, duty-free, quota-free.
Well, still related to trade, President of the American Chamber of Commerce, Ghana, Aisha Bedwe-Ibe, has pledged a further deepening of trade relations between U.S. businesses and their Ghanaian counterparts going forward. According to her, the Chamber has put measures in place for members to take advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area to enhance their activities. She spoke to Joy Business at the commissioning of a new plush office at the Chamber at East Legon here in Accra.
The move is to continue creating an enabling environment for its members. According to the Chamber, this will facilitate and strengthen trading activity between Ghana and the United States of America. Here is President of the Chamber.
We are here today to open the new American Chamber of Commerce office in Ghana, which we've just moved in today. After 20 years at our old location in Asylum Down, we felt it was time to upgrade and step up to the level which we have grown to. So it was really important for us to make this statement and welcome our members, affiliates, and consultants and associates into this new space, which is the new American Chamber of Commerce office in East Legon. So as you know, American Chamber of Commerce in Ghana is all about building trade and relationships between Ghana and America. Now that we have this bigger and enlarged space, we're going to have a dedicated space for the AFCTA Resource Center, which is where we can analyze bills, bring our members together.
She adds Ghanaian businesses can compete globally, thus the Chamber will continue to support and promote local businesses in Ghana and America.
The pandemic slowed down trade everywhere all over the world, and we can see a definite uptick in this year. I mean, if nothing at all, everybody's less afraid. Businesses have opened up, trade borders have opened up, and we are really doing a lot together, especially in the area of vaccines. So the American government has supported Ghana through the COVAX facility with so many vaccines. AmCham has been very much involved in that, securing vaccines for our members. And so definitely things are on an uptick, and we're really proud and happy about that. So in terms of boosting trade between our countries, AmCham has always been really active. So through our various programs, of which we have several next year. A notable one that I'm personally looking forward to, and actually is a pet project of mine, is an investment forum which is looking at how Ghanaian businesses can invest in America. And that is, a first, because most of the things that we do as a country and even as a continent focuses on inward coming investment. But I believe that Ghanaian businesses have what it takes to actually set up and open and do trade in the U.S. So we are looking to support them through providing all the necessary support.
The Chamber's new office is at East Legon here in Accra. James Ishan's report for Joy Business.
Well, there's more business news coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. Up next, sports.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the sports segment with me, Eric Wampo. For Olympic bronze medalist Samuel Techi was adjudged Ghana Sports Personality of the Year at the 46th edition of the SWAG Awards. Trophy-laden Hazakas ladies picked up Team of the Year, while Heart of Oak's Daniel Efiye Banier and Ajax's Mohamed Kudus were awarded as locally based and foreign-based footballers of the year, respectively. My colleague Misha Ukweno was at the Accra International Conference Center and came through with this report.
In all, 20 awards were handed out to sports personalities from diverse disciplines. Nitakite Kuchuru II admonished the government to step up its efforts in the development of sports infrastructure.
What is the level of urgency that we are attaching to the completion of major sporting infrastructure for the African Games 2023 and the involvement of over 26 national federations in the planning and preparation of the Games? I'm making a call to the principals of the sporting fraternity to have a collective commitment to our sporting infrastructure, which is a major building block for the regular production and polishing of sportsmen and women, capable of competing locally and winning major global laurels. The Isipon Stadium, for instance, was left unattended for a very long time. But the silver-winning ladies, the Hazakas ladies, at the Maiden CAF Women's Championship should remind us that we need to put in much more than we are doing as a nation.
Minister for Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, announced the rollout of a pension scheme for athletes as well as sportsmen and women.
As the Minister for Youth and Sports, I have taken effort to guarantee that our heroes' honor and dignity are preserved long after they have retired. As a government, we don't want to see our stars we are honoring today absolute agony as we have seen with some of them, our legends currently. As immediate response to the troubled tendency of some of our sports icons becoming paupers in retirement, I've implemented pension program for all our athletes, particularly our national team. The suggestion is for all our national team players and athletes is for the ministry to withhold part of their earnings was on their national assignment, which will place them in a special retirement fund in their names. This was accomplished through the development of a comprehensive policy in collaboration with the athletes and other stakeholders.
Vice President Dr. Baomia encouraged local football clubs and sports franchises to adopt digitalization in their operations to develop extra sources of income.
Tonight, I want to state and urge all sports stakeholders in Ghana that Ghana sports cannot afford to miss out on the opportunities of digitalization after missing out on television revenue and sustainable sponsorship. The digitization agenda of the government offers sports entities in Ghana a unique opportunity to transform their brands and maximize their revenue stream through e-membership, e-ticketing, and e-commerce. By adopting the concept of digitization, which is the norm for all sports brands around the world, the Ghanaian sports entities, especially football clubs, should be able to rake in more revenues from their fans, even if there are a few thousand of fans.
Olympic bronze medalist Samuel Techi was announced as Sports Personality of the Year, and Ofori Asare, coach of the national boxing team, who was awarded as the National Team Coach of the Year, calls for more support to be given to the sport for more laurels.
I think it's the training program support. It goes with financing, planning for such tournaments, especially as we are going for the Commonwealth Games and then the coming African Games, that's 2023. We should be able to continue winning. Winning bronze at the highest platform means that we have a challenge always to be able to maintain it, because you can't win at the Olympics and lose at the Commonwealth or lose at the African.
Michael Kweti-Kweno, reporting for Joy Sports.
Well, that's how we wrap up the sports here. You can get some more sports stories on my Joy Online /sports or follow us on Twitter at Joy Sports GH. My name is Oriku Ampofo.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to my Joy Online /podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Some showbiz news now, and US rapper Dracula the Ruler has died after being stabbed at a music festival in Los Angeles. The 28-year-old, whose real name was Daryl Caldwell, had been scheduled to perform at the Once Upon a Time in LA festival on Saturday night. His publicist confirmed his death to several US media outlets on Sunday morning. The artiste was reportedly stabbed during an altercation backstage around the time he had been due to perform. Los Angeles police are investigating but told reporters no arrests had been made as of Sunday morning. Dracula the Ruler had more than 1.5 million monthly listeners on Spotify and collaborated with Canadian rapper Drake on the single Talk to Me. And with that, we wrap Joy News today. You can check out major stories on myjoyonline.com. Of course, that major story there that we have details on having to do with Parliament getting back to, cast a vote on the e-levy. We'll know the status of that. You can check out details from myjoyonline.com. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you for staying.